Leonard Peltier is a prisoner of war, a political prisoner, incarcerated for a crime he did not commit by a government that has no intention of ever finding out the reality behind what happened. Because the reality is not something it wants to deal with. It doesn't want to talk about the oppression of indigenous people. It doesn't want to talk about the ritualistic abuses that occurred on reservations all over this country. It doesn't want to discuss the idea of democracy put into practice when it applies to individuals who live on a res or who live in substandard conditions inside a decaying system, inside a conjured democracy. And now we're coming to terms with that reality. Leonard Peltier is a living example of that struggle, and we need to do everything that we can to spread the word and let people know that our struggle, like Leonard Peltier, will not die. We will not allow it to die, not in our hearts, not in our souls, and not in the physical reality that we live in right now. This is Immortal Technique. Viva la revolución.
Hello, everyone. The Global Month of Solidarity for Kurdistan is almost finished, and we are wrapping it up with tonight's cultural program and a film showing on the 30th of November. The International League of People's Struggle commends everyone who has participated in the Month of Solidarity for Kurdistan. My name is Dania, and I am from the ILPS Global Secretariat, and I will be your moderator for this program. So the song you just heard is by the rapper Immortal Technique, titled Political Prisoner. It's a song about Leonard Peltier, an Anishinaabe Lakota Native American and a leading member of the American Indian movement who has been imprisoned for more or less 38 years under allegations of murdering two FBI agents during a confrontation involving American Indian movement members on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota in June 1975. So we see that repression is something common across all peoples as we struggle for self-determination and liberation. Our cultural program today is in celebration of the Kurdish struggle and their culture of resistance. And we would like to highlight that despite our various differences in language, heritage, and tradition, resistance to oppression and the struggle for social liberation is something that binds all of us together. So before we begin our presentations for our song and video presentations, we would also like to invite Jonas Stahl to speak. Jonas Stahl is a visual artist whose work deals with the relation between art, propaganda, and democracy. He is the founder of the artistic and political organization New World Summit and the campaign New Unions. So he co-founded the New World Academy with Florian Mazaker. He is currently directing the Utopian Training Camp, Training for the Future. And with Laura Provost, he is co-administrator of the Obscure Union. So his projects have been exhibited widely at venues such as the Stedelijk Museum in Amsterdam and the Moderna Museum in Stockholm, as well as the 7th Berlin Biennial, the 31st Sao Paulo Biennial, and the Oslo Architecture Triennial, and the Warsaw Biennale. All right, so he has also published several catalogs, including No Solar, Brasilia, Stateless Democracy, and Steve Bannon, A Propaganda Retrospective, and Propaganda Art in the 21st Century. So he also completed his PhD research on propaganda art at the PhD Arts program of Leiden University, the Netherlands. So let's welcome Jonas Stahl for Solidarity in Kurdistan.
Thank you so much, Dania, for that very nice introduction and for inviting me to contribute to this important program of the ILPS. I'm going to share my screen with you now so that I can give you an impression of the cultural and solidarity work that we have been developing as the New World Summit, as Dania said, an artistic and political organization that I founded in 2012, the New World Summit, which consists of various members from the field of art, architecture, design, but also from progressive diplomacy and progressive organizations from progressive law. And our work as the New World Summit, and I will emphasize its relationship to the Kurdish revolutionary movement, our work as the New World Summit has been focused on developing alternative parliaments for stateless and blacklisted political organizations. So parliaments like you see here in a drawing form, this kind of temporal architectural installations that we organized in direct response to the ongoing war on terror and the use of so-called terrorist blacklisting. So terrorist blacklists, as many of you will be familiar with, are ones when one is listed, it means a travel ban is imposed, bank accounts are frozen, passports are revoked. Essentially, one is declared stateless. And of course, that is in itself a kind of double negation, because many of the organizations that are prosecuted in the war on terror were already stateless when you think of the Basque independent movement or the Kurdish movement in that regard. And of course, the war on terror has been used very effectively. The blacklisting has been used very effectively to get rid of political opponents under the name that they would be, under the guise, under the narrative that they would be a threat to liberal capitalist democracy. Now here you see one of the first gatherings that we organized in Berlin, the first parliament of the New World Summit in Berlin. And from left to right here we see John Andoni Leque from the Basque independence movement, Louis Alandoni of the National Democratic Front of the Philippines, Musa Agasarit of the National Liberation Movement of Azawad, and we're looking in the back of Fadil Yildirim of the Kurdish Women's Movement. And of course, these organizations don't fit at all this dominant narrative of the war on terror as some kind of acting out of some kind of fundamental hatred for democracy. Rather, these are organizations that stem from long-standing anti-colonial liberational movements that represents ideas of democracy, ideas of redistributions of power and wealth that are too democratic for capitalist democracy to bear. So it is their problem is not the reason of their being blacklisted is not necessarily that they are a threat to democracy, but rather that they are too democratic. Now let's focus on Fadil Yildirim that you see here on the right. She was representing the Kurdish women's movement and spoke at this first assembly, this first parliament of the New World Summit about the revolutionary figure Abdullah Öcalan, the revolutionary leader Abdullah Öcalan, who co-founded the Kurdistan Workers' Party, the PKK, that has waged for decades a struggle for self-determination of the Kurdish people against oppression, particularly by the Turkish state, or the Turkish occupation, better so to say, in the southeastern part of Turkey, which we should actually be referring to as Bakur, the northern part of Kurdistan. As many of you know, women have played a key role in the Kurdistan Workers' Party, and Fadil in her presentation emphasized that women in the PKK faced a two-faced struggle, a struggle against the chauvinist, nationalist Turkish state on one hand that denied the existence of the Kurdish nation, and on the other hand, a struggle against the patriarchal culture within their own party. And this critique of this internal critique led Öcalan in close alliance with the Kurdish women's movement, particularly figures like like Sakina Jansis that you see here on the left, also one of the co-founders of the PKK. It led Öcalan to redefine the project of self-determination, not to achieve, not to demand for an independent nation state, which he increasingly saw as a form that embodied various patriarchal, capitalist, nationalist characteristics, but instead to struggle for what he refers to as a form of democratic confederalism. As in a literal quote from Öcalan is to struggle for a democracy without the state, to separate democracy from the model of the nation state. Now that idea of stateless democracy based on local self-governance rather than on centralized forms of governance inspired or influenced our organization, the New World Summit, hugely. Here you see the fourth parliament that we created in Brussels, where 20 different representatives of stateless states, unrecognized states, and states that are placed on terrorist blacklists gathered. And here, another representative of the Kurdish women's movement was present, and Dilar Dirik, here standing in front of a map that depicts this alternative model of stateless democracy, of democratic confederalism, a complex model based on decentralized governance, local communal self-governance, an emphasis on gender equality, and autonomously organized women's organization in the field of education, but also in the field of culture and self-defense. And she spoke specifically of another aspect of the Kurdish revolutionary struggle, namely in Rojava, the northern part of Syria, or better, the western part of Kurdistan, which is very closely aligned to the political project that emerged from Bakur, from the southeastern part of Turkey. And working increasingly closely with the Kurdish revolutionary movement, we were invited, our team of the New World Summit was invited to travel to Rojava to document the efforts of the Kurdish revolutionary movement there that has declared its own autonomous region in alliance with Arab and Assyrian peoples since 2012 onwards, fought against the Assad regime, against the Islamic State, against the increasing threats of the Turkish regime. Here an image that you will probably be familiar with, that of the women's protection units, or the YPG, but also images from that are might be less familiar, which are images of what stateless democracy in day-to-day practice looks like, how it manifests. Here we see a theater, an old theater of the Assad regime that is transformed into an alternative people's parliament in the city of Khamishlo in the autonomous region. And this is essentially the nucleus of the Rojava political project. There are different layers of governance that might be familiar to us, from the communal to the municipal to the cantonal to the transcantonal. But the smaller the political entity, the more executive power is invested in it. So it is a complete reversal of where we invest power, rather in this case, most direct power, most direct agencies invested in the smallest political component. Now, traveling in the region, we were closely exchanging with the Minister of Foreign Affairs at the time, Amina Osse. She was very familiar with the works that we were doing on the alternative parliament and its close relationship to the Kurdish revolutionary movement, and invited us, commissioned us to develop a new public parliament together with the self-administration, with the autonomous government, a parliament that would not be using the existing infrastructures from the Assad regime, from the former Assad regime, but that really would try to translate the ideas of stateless democracy into a new public infrastructure. Literally, Amina also proposed, in this case, it should be a public parliament, a parliament as a public space, not separated from the public domain, but an inherent part of it. We worked for 3 years to develop this parliament, this circular parliament that spatially and visually tries to emphasize this notion of self-governance, this idea of collective self-representation rather than centralized form of governance or organization of power. It was inaugurated in 2018, only a short time after the Turkish invasion in the Afrin region in Rojava, and it stands both as a symbol, as a monument in some sense to the struggle and sacrifice of the Kurdish revolutionary movement, and at the same time it's a space where its ideas can actually be put to practice. It's a space where stateless democracy on a day-to-day practice is being brought into being. Now I see this was supposed to be a very short presentation, so maybe in the last minute, just a few notes on what it also means for a non-Kurdish person such as myself and the members of my team to work with a movement like the Kurdish Revolutionary Movement. Stateless democracy is clearly specific to the history of the Kurdish struggle, of the leading role of the Kurdish women's movement to challenge the capitalist, patriarchal, nationalist aspects of the idea of the nation state, to put it into practice both in Bakur and in Rojava. But Öcalan, also the revolutionary leader Abdullah Öcalan, also always emphasized, while stateless democracy is specific to the Kurdish history, to the Kurdish struggle, it is not limited to it either. Stateless democracy, in his view, I quote him, would lead to a form of, or could lead to a form of world confederalism, a new parallel structure that enables new forms of self-determination that are no longer reliant on an imperialist capitalist world order. And we have tried through our cultural work, through our artistic work to act upon that. For example, here in the form of the New World Embassy that we created in 2016 in Oslo, in the Oslo City Hall, where various representatives from the autonomous government in Rojava came to represent their struggle, but also to link it to other stateless peoples, progressive political parties, to really try to transform these cultural sites as spaces where we can start to pre-imagine or pre-enact the possibility of what world confederalism on a day-to-day basis could or should be, acknowledging, of course, the historical stake of the Kurdish revolutionary movement, and at the same time trying to expand its alliances and possibilities in a period of time in which we face various crises, whether it is in the form of the rise of authoritarian governments across the world, increasing economic precarization, the climate collapse, the paradigm that was brought forward by Öcalan, by the Kurdish women's movement, by the Rojava revolution. It is one both specific and at the same time a horizon for progressive and emancipatory politics across the world.
Right. Thank you very much, Jonas. Do you have any messages or do you have any message to the Kurdish people who are currently struggling for self-determination?
I mean, I am very close. I continue to work very closely together with the Kurdish community, both in the Netherlands and in direct exchange with the Kurdish autonomous government. I mean, my message is a message not just of solidarity, but a message of friendship. The work of the Kurdish revolutionary movement has been a horizon to all of us. Its political imagination has triggered new forms of cultural and artistic imaginations, and I'm proud and honored to be able to contribute a minor part to that. But of course, as a Kurdish saying goes, we are born in struggle. This is not a struggle of a year or even of a single lifetime, but one that goes far beyond that. And that also means that our solidarity and friendship will have to go. We'll have to stretch over that much longer period of time, and I'm committed to continue to contribute in my capacity as an artist and cultural worker.
Right. Thank you very much, Jonas. In case we have questions on Facebook Live, would it be all right if we forward that to you and you can answer that in video form and we can publish them later on the ILPS Global page?
Of course, my pleasure.
All right. Thank you very much. And
thank you for organizing this.
All right. Thank you. It was a very interesting discussion in terms of spatial practice and how representations of space contribute to the production of space, and this is reflective of ideology. So let's move on to our next presentation. So the next song we have is, all right, let me just turn on my video. All right. The next song we are featuring is called Shavano, which means warrior in Kurdish. And amongst others, the song Shavano has come to be the symbol of Rojava's resistance against Turkish state fascism. So the song was released in the same week as the beginning of the Turkish army's Peace Spring operation, and it has become an important part of protests in the fields and the front lines.
به قربانو تو نهیلی طولامه به دست خون به جانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو کسی یادای که به قربانو تو نهیلی طولامه به دست خون به جانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو چلنگو از گوریده دل که یاری باراده تفنگل سر ملانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو چلنگو از گوریده دل که یاری باراده تفنگل سر ملانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو گرکتین برخانو لولی بده سنگانو بلزو بس که حیرانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو گرکتین برخانو لولی بده سنگانو بلزو بس که حیرانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو دریا دوست دزانو کس که سوران ازمانو یان چکادش منانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو دریا دوست دزانو کس که سوران ازمانو یان چکادش منانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو شروانو
So that video was produced by Hunergeha Weda, a group which creates music and documentaries on the revolution in Rojava. Now, this is the part where we were supposed to call on Comrade Erdogan, but he has an emergency and he is unable to join us right now to give us the welcoming remarks for this program. So we'll just continue on. And our next performer is an artist from the UK who released an album in 2018 titled Songs for Rojava, and he will be performing one of his songs from the album. So let's welcome the video from Lee Brickley.
Hello comrades, first of all I want to thank you for asking me to take part in this event. It's for a brilliant cause, the Kurdish struggle and the Rojava revolution, and particularly the freedom for Abdullah Öcalan. My name's Lee Brickley, I'm a songwriter from the UK, and I wrote and released an album about a year ago called Songs for Rojava, which is all about the internationalist volunteers and everything else that's been happening in northern Syria over the past few years. So yeah, I just thought I'd play you a little song today. I hope the rest of the event goes really well. I hope you like this song, and you can find my music on Bandcamp or Spotify, anything like that. My name's Lee Brickley, but if you type in Songs for Rojava, you'll find it straight away. This song's called Öcalan, and it tells the story of Abdullah Öcalan from when the struggle started until his arrest. I hope you enjoy it. Locked away on an island, not allowed to see the world, guarded by 1,000 rifles in a prison line with dirt. There's a man who inspires millions to live like they are free. He's a guerrilla in the greatest sense, a revolutionary, and he took up arms in '84 to fight the Turkish state and protect the Kurdish people from another deadly fate. Some may call him a terrorist, but you know it's not that way. When politicians didn't care, he formed the PKK. Up in the mountains, launched attacks against the state for their years of persecution and their policies of hate. On a mission for the freedom of the people of his land, he's the life and blood and heart and soul of all of Kurdistan. He liberated women, helped them shed religion's chains, built a path for every person from the cradle to the grave. An intellect and passion like the world has rarely seen. He's a leader without privilege, and I think that we should free Öcalan. Arrested him in Italy, then sent him on his way. No other European state would sign off on his plane, so he ended up in Kenya, where he was finally betrayed by the hidden hand of the Secret Service and the CIA. They shipped him back to Turkey in a big public display, called the media and film crews before they locked him away. Held a public trial, then had their death sentence overturned. If they'd only take another look, I think that they could learn. Öcalan. Peace, freedom, liberation, freedom for Abdullah Öcalan, and big up the Rojava Revolution. See you soon, comrades.
All right. Thank you very much, Lee Brickley. Now, let us listen to a few solidarity messages from indigenous peoples throughout the world, brought to us by the ILPS Commission 10.
Assalamu alaikum. On behalf of the progressive Bangsamoro organizations under the banner of the International League of People's Struggles, Suara Bangsamoro stand in unity with the people of Kurdistan in calling for the release of political prisoner and PKK leader Abdullah Öcalan. We also call for the freedom of the Kurdistan people from the expansionism, occupation, and fascism of the Turkish government. Like the Kurdistan people, the Bangsamoro brothers and sisters have also experienced landlessness, displacement of people, and the destruction of our culture and community due to historical colonialism and continuing oppression of our national government against national minorities and indigenous tribes. Unlike the Kurdistan people, we continue our legitimate struggle for freedom and democratic rights. Long live the struggle for self-determination and liberation. Long live international solidarity.
Hi everyone, I'm Satiskanta Sharma, a member of Youth Action Committee for Protection of Indigenous People. We extend solidarity to the people of Kurdistan. The Turkish colonial aggression and expansionism continues to attack the advancement of Kurdish national liberation movement. This includes year-long campaign of harassment and arrest of activists and killings and murders of revolutionaries. The Turkey fascist regime is being utilized by US attack dogs in Syria, Iraq, and Islamist mercenaries. And this is part of the imperialist US war of aggression in Russia with its allies of elites and ruling class in Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Israel, exposing its opportunities approach to Kurdish movement without commitment to Kurdish assertion of self-determination. In the name of anti-terrorism, misery and genocide is being carried out in the region. It is nothing but a illegal occupation, isolation, neo-colonization, and fascism towards the Kurdish people. The experience of Kurdish people is interconnected and linked to the struggles of national minorities, indigenous people, oppressed nations, and nationalities. Our unity with the Kurdistan people is a declaration of commitment to the struggle for self-declaration.
Free Kurdistan. Free of Chalan.
Stop isolation, fascism, and occupation.
Struggle for self-determination and liberation.
Long live international solidarity.
All right, so the next presentation is a cover of Buklod's Walis Tingting, which means broom in English. The song speaks of the strength found in unity in order to achieve victory over the people's struggle.
Sa nakikita ko at aking naririnig, marami sa ngayon ang hindi umiinig. Kahit alam nilang lipunan ay di na iba, wala raw magagawa, mabuti pang tumahimik. Kailan ka kikilos, kailan ka hahambang, hihintayin mo ba mahuli ang lahat? Kailan matututo sa naging karanasan? Ang mga pagpapasya'y nasa ating mga kamay. Suri ng tingting, sampu may kayang baliin, ngunit kung marami di na kakayanin. Kaya't huwag isiping wala tayong magagawa. Kung nagkakaisa, tagumpay ay makukuha. Kaya't halika na, kumilos sumabang, huwag nang hintayin pa, kayo ay maiwan. Ngayon ay tayo na, kumilos sumabang, nasa pagkakaisa ang paglayang inaasam. Suriin ang tingting, sampu may kayang baliin, ngunit kung marami di na kakayanin. Kaya't huwag isipin wala tayong magagawa. Kung nagkakaisa, tagumpay ay makukuha.
All right, thank you very much. Our next video is about the Kurdish writer and political prisoner Ilhan Sami Chomak, who was originally arrested in 1994 as a 22-year-old geography student at the University of Istanbul. And he was charged with starting a forest fire and of being associated with the Kurdistan Workers' Party. And these were charges which he denied and which he confessed to only under torture. So, despite evidence of his innocence and despite a series of failed or constantly postponed appeals, he is still in prison on the basis of that confession. So, while in prison, his sentence was extended after the events of 2016, the failed coup, and the ensuing repression. So, there seems to be little prospect of his release in the near future, which is why artists throughout the world have been calling for his release.
Gelecek istasyon Hilal. Lütfen dikkat. Hilal istasyonu İzmir metroyu kullanacak yolcularımız için aktarma istasyonudur. Next station Hilal. Attention please. Hilal station is the transfer station for those passengers that will take İzmir metro.
Kaynak sularda ve yalazlanan kayalarda seni gördüm. Güneş erken doğdu bugün. Erken doğan günde ve gecede seni gördüm. Uzattım duvarlara elimi. Duvarın teninde ve ötelerde seni gördüm. İş biliyor hayat, en çok bana biliyor. Ben bunu anlatırken seni gördüm. Vakit sonbahar, portakalın zamanıdır. Elma ve ayvarın, siyah üzümlerin, gökkuşağı geride kaldı. Bilinmeyen tüm renklerde seni gördüm. Geceyi demliyor ishak kuşu, karanlığın tadı değişiyor. İshak kuşunun rüyasında seni gördüm.
Tren Cuma Havası yönüne gider. Lütfen Rose Tivars'ın bu anlatıları
kaldırmak için artı cihazlarında kartınızı unutmayı unutmayın.
Can you hear us? All right, so thank you very much for that. Despite his 26 years of imprisonment, Chomak has produced several volumes of highly regarded poetry, and the last of them won the prestigious Senor Cesar Prize in 2019. And Chomak is definitely not the only writer who has suffered from Turkish repression. And there are many other writers and students currently imprisoned, but Chomak is among the longest serving. So apart from Öcalan, we also call for the freedom of all political prisoners of the Turkish regime, including the Kurdish writer Ilhan Hamid Chomak. And then, but apart from that, we also call for the freedom of all political prisoners throughout the world. Now, let us listen to a solidarity message from Kilusang Maya Uno, or the First May movement, the genuine militant and nationalist labor movement in the Philippines. The message is given to us by Jerome Adonis, the Secretary General of KM.
Nakikiisa ang mga manggagawang Pilipino sa ilalim ng Kilusang Mayo 1 sa matagal ng panawagan ng mga kapatid nating Kurdistan para sa kanilang pagsasarili, kalayaan sa pagpapasya, laban sa anumang panunupil, panggigipit ng Estados Unidos. Kaya kami po ay lubusang nagpapaabot ng pakikiisa na kasama ninyo ang mga manggagawang Pilipino para sa pagigiit ng tunay na kalayaan at demokrasya ng mamamayang Kurdistan.
All right, so the next part of our cultural program, one of the highlights of our program, is a live performance from Suna Alan and her fellow musicians. So Suna Alan is a Kurdish singer based in London, and she was born in the mountainous province of Chelchulik, an ancient Kurdish and Armenian province in northern Kurdistan. So take it away, Suna, anytime.
Yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Suna Alan, a Kurdish singer based in London. Danya has already said I was born in a mountainous Kurdish village in Kurdistan, and much of my formative years were spent within a multicultural environment. I'm also a journalist, and I have involved in a variety of causes like women and women's rights and environment. I would like to thank ILPS for inviting us for this meaningful cultural event. My musician friends, Cem Tuncer with acoustic bass and Erdal Yapıcı with lafta accompany me today. Our first song is Hate Belgeri, which means she came to the entrance of my door. It is originally a poem from a very famous Kurdish poet, Cegerhui, one of the most influential artists from Kurdistan. At the beginning of World War I, this family became refugees and fled to Rojava, In 1946, he joined the Communist Party of Syria, and he was arrested, jailed, and eventually exiled to Lebanon. At the age of 76, he fled to Sweden and died in Stockholm at the age of 81. The most touching part of this song says, "Nightingale, do you know who I am? You are always free, but I'm a prisoner, without clothing and without a homeland, without a religion and without a faith. It's me, Jagadwin, a young Kurd." And our next song is Rea Kobane, means Kobane's Road. It's actually composed by Armenian Aram Tigran in Kurmanji Kurdish dialect. The song is about a young girl from Kobane village in Rojava. And it's about a girl, she was forced by her father to marry someone she doesn't want. Then she gives a life-changing decision and turns her direction to the mountains and becomes a freedom fighter, a guerrilla. The lyric says, "The beautiful girl's dowry, bride price, is 150 goats. The girl does The girl goes to the mountains. She does not obey her father. Okay, our last song is called Rea Khebate, which is translated as The Path of Struggle. It's originally a Russian song, Katusha. The lyric says, "The path of our struggle may be long and difficult. It may be surrounded by fire. Regardless, we will never abandon our path. We are always ready to die. For a new world, for the downtrodden, for the establishment of an equal society. We will end oppression. We will sow the seeds of freedom." pleșară, Bodanina cvaca yeksan, Bodanya te nu po pleșară, Bodanina cvaca yeksan, Aie surdareștreni de pline, Tu veroza de cine, Aie surdareștreni de pline, Tu veroza de cine, Reia khebati cendu settu durbe, Mawir durme pentu haltirbe, Reia khebati cendu settu durbe, Mawir durme pentu haltirbe, Reia pirostu carem bernade, Mumerine hette mamade, Reia pirostu carem bernade, Mumerine hette mamade. Thank you very much again for inviting us. We are grateful and we are happy. Thank you very much.
For that, all right. Thank you for that breathtaking performance, Suna Anan, and we'd like to thank you for taking the time to join us in solidarity for Kurdistan. Now let's head on to one of the highlights of tonight's cultural program. So apart from Suna Anan, we also have a cooking segment which showcases Kurdish and Filipino cuisine, brought to us by our comrades from the Netherlands.
This month of November 2020 has been marked as a month of solidarity with the Kurdish people's struggle for freedom and for the release of Kurdish political prisoners. I decided to contribute our expression of solidarity through cooking. I chose a Kurdish recipe called mash palau, a dish made of rice and mung beans. Of course, these two ingredients are very familiar with Filipinos. Rice is also our staple food in the Philippines, and mung beans is a common food for ordinary Filipinos. I wanted to pair it with chicken adobo, another popular Filipino dish, because adobo reminds us of our colonial history. So when the Spaniards colonized our homeland, they observed that the indigenous natives, whom they called Indios, cooked meat, fish, and vegetables in vinegar. This made the food flavorful, and it was also used to preserve food. The Spaniards said it was similar to the adobado, and the name stuck. Vinegar is a product of fermentation. It turns sugars in fruits and grain into alcohol and vinegar. It is the result of the agitated development of bacteria. The word ferment also means commotion or excitement, no? To ferment a revolution. It's a good reminder for us that if the oppressed people, like Filipinos and Kurdish people, persist in their struggle, we can break down the system of structures that oppress us, like bacteria breaking down sugars in food. The result will be a delicious and flavorful concoction of freedom and justice. I hope you enjoyed this contribution. Please be generous with the most important ingredient that will make this version of mashed palau and adobo very delicious. And this ingredient is solidarity. Solidarity for all people struggling for freedom, like the Filipinos and the Kurdish people. Thank you very much. Enjoy it.
Jun ah. Ang dami. Ang dami, Jun. Tama na. Tama na, Jun. Dapat pala may may knife.
Hindi na tayo naglalait. At least isang subo lang.
Tapos magtitingin na tayo.
Danya, you're muted.
Thank you. Thank you for telling me. Thank you. We'd like to thank our comrades from the Netherlands, especially Jun Saturay, for taking the time to show us how to cook a Kurdish dish. And when we talk about food, not much thought is placed on where it came from, or how it was produced, its history, or how, the farmers who toiled so we can have food on the table. And not a lot of thought is also placed on hunger and poverty throughout the world. But as June and his and the other comrades in the Netherlands remind us, the struggle for social liberation reminds us that the struggle of workers, peasants, national minorities, and peoples of color, and all those who are oppressed are intertwined. So we have another song number from the Filipino migrants in Thailand. The song is titled Batingao.
Tawag ng batingaw, ayaw na't ipaalam. Sa mundo ay isigaw, karapatang pantao ay galang. Anumang dahilan, antas kulay o isipan, tao'y pahalagahan, karapatang likas panindigan. Ang karapatang pantao ay igalang, di lamang sa diwa, kundi sa puso man. Siyang sandigan ng katarungan, kapayapaan at kalayaan. Bayan na pinagpala, bayan na may kalinga, kinabukasan, alay sa mga bata. Tawag ng batingaw, hayo na ipalam, sa mundo ay isigaw, karapatang pantao ipaglaban. Ang karapatang pantao ay igalang, di lamang sa diwa, kundi sa puso man. Siyang sandigan ng katarungan, kapayapaan puso man. Siyang sandigan ng katarungan, kapayapaan at kalayaan. Tayo ay lilikha, bayan na pinagpala, bayan na may kalinga, kinabukasan alay sa mga bata.
All right, thank you very much. The song is about valuing and defending human rights for the future generations, and it's a very timely performance considering International Human Rights Day is coming up on the 10th of December. And with the rise of totalitarianism all over the world, our task to uphold human rights is of paramount importance. Now let's move on and hear solidarity messages from Argentina and Bolivia, from the Argentina and Bolivia country chapters of the ILPS.
Hola a todos, soy Pascual Duarte, miembro de la ILPS, capítulo argentino, y en nombre de las organizaciones que lo componen, quiero expresar nuestra solidaridad y compromiso con la lucha del pueblo kurdo. La Liga ha lanzado este mes, el mes de solidaridad, con lo que creemos es un ejemplo de avanzada por la liberación de los pueblos y la lucha de todo un pueblo contra el fascismo. Decimos fuertemente, Kurdistán libre, Oyalán libre. Hello everyone. I'm Pascual Duarte, a member of the ILPS Argentinian chapter. On behalf of the organization that make it up, I want to express our solidarity and commitment to the struggle to the Kurdish people. The ILPS has launched this month of the solidarity with that we believe is a leading example for the liberation of people and the struggle of an entire people against fascism. We strongly say, Free Kurdistan, Free Ocalan.
Desde el Estado Plurinacional de Bolivia, como organizaciones de la sociedad civil que pertenecemos a la Liga Internacional de la Lucha de los Pueblos, ILPS, Columna Sur y PTK, queremos manifestarnos en solidaridad con el pueblo kurdo y su lucha por la autodeterminación. Somos una organización y organizaciones antiimperialistas, internacionalistas, y en ese sentido queremos la autodeterminación del pueblo kurdo.
Así, compañeros, desde Bolivia les damos todo nuestro apoyo para que sigan en su lucha y que los pueblos decidan por ellos y que los imperios no los manipulen. Queremos que los pueblos kurdos y sirios decidan en soberanía.
Que muera el fascismo y el imperialismo por la autodeterminación de los pueblos. Estado Plurinacional de Bolivia,
antiimperialista.
Canción de libertad, con decisión, la patria vencerá.
All right, thank you very much. And that marks the end of our cultural program for the Global Month of Solidarity for Kurdistan. We were supposed to have Len Cooper for our closing remarks, but he's down with the flu, with the cold, and unfortunately he couldn't make it. So everyone seems to be either going to the hospital or getting down with something with the sickness. So we hope everyone stays safe and keeps out of the coronavirus pandemic. But anyway, this event was organized by the International League of People's Struggle, an international organization of anti-imperialist and democratic movements around the world. We would like to thank Jonas Stahl, Lee Brickley, Suna Alan, and the ILPS Hong Kong chapter for live streaming this event, and everyone for their participation in the cultural program and the Global Month of Solidarity. So our last event for the month of Solidarity for Kurdistan will be on the 30th of November, an online film screening of the film Commander Aryan with a Q&A with its director, Abasatora. And please look out for updates on the film screening, which will be posted on the ILPS Facebook page. So we will be leaving you with a video of a traditional Kurdish dance by the Komarunahi group performed in Paris. Thank you very much, everyone. Let us continue with our struggle for self-determination and social liberation. Free Kurdistan, free Öcalan, stop isolation, fascism, and annexation. Long live international solidarity.
Komatawi, ya Pushmeke, aussi, Shib Umerin, ou Hafqasi Khosha, Koma Ronahi, je Paris!